Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. As promised, this is a double header. I haven't done this in a while. I shouted out Jeff St. James of the Ask a Brother podcast on my community tab, and he hearted it about a half hour ago when me and Passport OG wrapped up. He does double headers all the time, so it was for scheduling purposes. I thought it would be wise if I could do it to do this double header today. And so here we are. So the master teacher, BGS IBMOR, agreed to come back to talk about with me The Richer Sex. The Richer Sex, a book that he's talked about quite a bit on his channel. And it's a book that I only know about because of watching his content. So I think this is a highly timely book retrospective. I think this book very much talks about a lot of what we're experiencing around us today in the Black community and in other communities. And I thought that this would be both an educational and a fruitful discussion. So I am simulcasting to my science channel, hence the Mr. Spock shirt. So because to me, this is very much, it's a science story in addition to a story about culture and society. So there's a lot here. So I'll see you on the other side of the intro. I'm going to give some brief introductory points, and then I'm going to bring the master teacher up, and we're going to talk about The Richer Sex by Liza Mundy. So, where did this topic come from? So I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. But if I'm out talking to younger people, especially Black boys, what skills should they cultivate at an early age to have a chance to get into cloud engineering?
Read. You need to know how to read. This is the one area where we're having an issue. Reading. Can you read? Can you follow instructions? But can you read? So the books you saw I have books here, right? I mean, let's get another one. Gen AI on AWS. Okay, here another one. Automation. How about this one? Agentic AI Bible, right? I've got a whole shelf, and I can literally just sit here for a while and pull books off the shelf. Can you read? Can you actually pay attention? Can you sit down and read 3 chapters and take notes?
So, where did this topic come from? So I'm going to admit that because of where I come from, see, in this world, we're all living in different worlds, and not everybody is privy to the same information. All right, everybody, welcome back to Big Discussions 76. And this is also simulcasting to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology, because I very much see this as a science discussion as well. Behavioral biology, reproductive biology, those are aspects that have been studied across multiple species, but I think that no species at this point in time is more intriguing than the human species. I'm going to start this by saying that I once had a class at my HBCU, Johnson C. Smith University. And one of the prerequisite classes for biology was zoology. So scientists have spent a lot of time studying how mammalian species in particular, and even microbes, reproduce. Humans are a sexual species. We are mammals. And I've said it several times over on my science channel that we are unique in that we live in cities, we have technology, we have religion, we have culture, we have politics, we have universities, college degrees. So we have all of these confounders on top of our biology that help impact the biology. Shout out to the nameless protagonist. We've talked about that. So I think a lot of that is captured and discussed in Liza Mundy's The Richer Sex. And I think a good way to start this stream off would be in terms of marriage, in terms of partnering. Does anybody know what to do today? Me and BGS have talked about this years ago, and this will come up during this conversation. What is a husband? What is a wife? What is a partner? What does a marriage even look like today? Is it even worth getting into today? All right, that would make a lot of people clutch their pearls, but these are things that those of us who still have some life left, these are questions that we're facing. Before I bring BGS up, I want to share a couple of things, just as jumping off points. Back in 2024, I think it was January 2024, I was interested in median household income, and I came across this data set here, which compared. This is 2024 data. I think they updated this. This was an interesting chart to me because it showed median household income across race. So you could see there that the average for the United States, all full-time year-round workers for 2024, $63,360. For Asian households, $86,560. For white non-Hispanics, $71,260. And then bringing up the rear, the Black community, $52,370. And then for the Hispanic community, any race, $50,430. And as a scientist, I'm always looking to interpret and figure out what's causing something. And it occurred to me, for comparing Black people in this country to these other two groups here, is this just more single households and less combining of incomes? Okay, is that how you attribute this number? Okay, so that's just something to think about, because when you're married and you have two working people, you're combining incomes, and your median household income is double that of what a single person would be. Okay, some of you have seen this data before. I'm sure BGS has presented it. Maybe Medium Man has presented it. This is from blackdemographics.com. If my mother watches this, she'll say, well, how does this all relate to Black people? So I have to foreground it there, as Dr. T.S. Johnson says. This is a compelling set of data charts from blackdemographics.com. This one says Black women were more likely to be married than white women until 1970, and there you could see the separation, the lack of marriage rate spike up. It inflects, and then for this chart, coincidentally, Black men more likely to be married than white men until 1960. Okay, so then you can start to see it start to separate there. Okay. I'm going to show one more, and then I'm going to bring up the master teacher. You guys are here to see him. You're not here to see me. I thought that this would be a good context for this as well. I just did a quick Google search. This is called how has marriage in the United States changed over time? You guys can do a quick Google search and find this as well. This is from USA Facts, and this figure shows households headed by married couples in the 2020s are the lowest ever recorded in the United States. So it looks like it was at its peak in the 1950s, and this escalator steadily goes down from 80% down to about 50%, 47% in 2024, 47% in 2024. So I think these are nice data sets and facts to use as jumping off points. So with that, everybody, let me welcome back the master teacher, BGS IBMOR.
Hey, Doc, what's going on?
Teacher, welcome.
What's
How you
going on,
doing?
Doc? What's going on,
Nothing
Doc? Can
much.
you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I got you.
All right. All right. So, Master Teacher, so if you don't have any reaction to any of that, then
I mean, I went over that stuff when I first started on YouTube. So with the charts and stuff like, but the
yes.
marriage charts that you see and decline in marriage in dual households is universal. It's not just here; it's all over the planet. So the biggest, if you actually want to do a deep dive study and see something rapidly decline like that, look at South Korea.
Yes.
South Koreans, where I think were 90%, 96% married in 1960, and now they're down to less than 50%. So
Okay.
it just in what it took us 200 years to get to, it took them about 60 years to get to. Same
Okay.
same thing with childbirth and all that kind of stuff. So it's they're a compact case study, but
Mhm.
the whole planet is going through almost the exact same thing in varying degrees.
Okay. All right. Thank you to everyone who has come back. The first part of the doubleheader was with the Passport OG. So thank you to everyone who has come back. Toya, Paul, I think Michael was there. Cynical Optimist. Thank you, everybody. All right. So the richer sex. So BGS, first of all, thank you for what you do. I thanked you the last time. And also, since I want to encourage reading, I did listen to our last discussion. I won't belabor you with the question, but just briefly, your development. I mean, because you've read this information, you collected charts, created charts. You have a vast library. You're very much an encyclopedia. You were a natural reader, and your curiosity is what helped feed that, especially now, especially since you came to YouTube. So that was the secret to your becoming a reader. That's right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, and he discusses that more in our Dark Ghetto stream. If anybody wants to hear about that, that's a skill that's being lost today.
Oh man, it's a big thing. In fact, I think there's an Atlantic magazine called Post Literacy, the post literacy generation. Just came out a couple of days ago. Probably want to look it up on the Atlantic, called Post Literacy, where people aren't reading anymore, and it's a skill that's being lost rapidly because of is because of videos. You know, the first art of communication was vocal anyway, and all video is removing the reading is actually a very complex layer. It's one of the last acquired skills, which is reading, and since people are depending on AI to read to them, but also to videos to explain things to them, that's almost like the storyteller going back hundreds of thousands of years. Okay, how you relate information. So we're getting into a post literacy generation, just out on the Atlantic, maybe a few days ago. So if you want to look it up, I think it'd be well worth your time.
Okay, see everybody, he's on top of everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And the irony is that a lot of what we need to know or is in these things, and a lot of as I'll describe, even Asia. You mentioned Korea. She even talks about Asia in here later in the book, which we'll talk about. But a lot of what we need are in these books. And if you can't read or you're not unwilling to read,
say Dr. Elfile, he's got the name of the article. Wow.
He says the end of the reading is here. Name of the article in the Atlantic.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Okay. So, Master Teacher, so the richer sex. First, how did you discover this book, and what made you pick it up and read it in the first place?
I saw it. There's two, but this is like the tail end of the other book. The first book in 2012 was called The End of Men. I'm trying to. I think it's by Hannah Rose. It's about Hannah Rosen. I think her name was Rosen, and she talked about the end of men and how feminism had acquired actually what it wanted, which is a perfectly equal society. In other words, according to them, 2012 there was 33% male breadwinners, um, 33% co-bred winners, and there was 33% female-headed or female breadwinner households. And in other words, that was the perfect balance. But the thing is, the problem was, okay, women were having a problem adjusting to that balance.
Okay.
And then she and Hannah Rosen talked about what feminism. This is not by accident. Feminism actually pushed this back, going back to the if you read the book More Than Title IX, they're actually pushing this idea, training men and women to take on different roles of the household. In other words, um, there's no set roles for a wife. And, that's like we call them partners now. A wife is a role, just a set standard of duties. Okay, husband has a set standard of duties, and they want to eliminate that. That's like, I mean, there's no more husband and wife for the most part. It's partner. Okay, where there are no gender roles. They wanted to eliminate that. They wanted to succumb that there's a lot of children, boys especially, that were millennial and above, actually trained to do what? Cook, clean, and take care of children. Okay, and women were supposedly pushed into the more of the industrial arts, the more manly stuff. Okay, which they didn't take to very well, but that was actually supposed to be programmed as this uh, more balanced or equal society, and that's where that comes from. In 2012, especially after the mortgage crisis, where a lot of men, they call it the male apocalypse, where a lot of men lost their jobs and women kept theirs, and and there were stories in both books of where um, a ex-wife who still had a good job would drive past her husband who didn't have a job, who she got rid of. He's sitting on the bus bench by himself, unemployed, and she just drive by, and it's very common. It's very common.
Okay. Okay. So
So
the thing.
Liz Mundy is the second half of the book. She actually does a better job of explaining it.
Okay. Once again, the first book was called what?
It was called "The End of Men" by Hannah Rosen. That was probably the first book that talked about it.
Okay. That's very wow. The End of Men. That's very sobering. That's a very sobering title.
Yeah,
But
there's about 5 books like that. I can't remember the name of all of them, but these are the first 2.
okay. All right. So I think this is an appropriate time to show people just briefly who the author is. And
Uh-huh.
we did this with Dark Ghetto and the Moynihan Report, and we did it with Bell Hooks when Dr. Neal was here. So everybody, this is Liza Mundy.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people in my family. Why are you showing us this white woman? Why are you showing us this? Seriously.
Because black people didn't write the book. If black people wrote the books, then we can actually show black people. I told that to a mentor of mine. He said, "Why are you always quoting white people? Because y'all won't write the books."
Yeah. So this is Liza Mundy, everybody.
Mhm.
She's married to Bill Nye the Science Guy. Okay, right there.
Right
Okay.
there.
Liza Mundy.
You cannot make this up, can you?
Yeah. Yeah. So overview. So Liza Mundy is an American journalist, nonfiction writer, and a fellow at the New America Foundation. She has written a number of books, and her writings have also appeared in The Atlantic, Politico, the New York Times, the New Republic, Slate, The Guardian, and the Washington Post. So I'm going to show one other thing here, because I think we need to have an understanding of that means something when it says she's a fellow at the New Republic. So there are these things called think tanks. Okay, there are liberal think tanks and there are conservative think tanks.
Yes.
Okay, so this is where a lot of these ideas that come filtering out into public policy in the universities, this is where they come from. They come from these think tanks. Okay, so that's her there. I just read her bio. I'm not going to read that, but I want to go to the about for New America. We're building a new America that ensures our most fundamental systems, education and work, democracy, family, well-being, security, and technology work for everyone. For over 25 years, New America has turned bold ideas into innovative solutions for people, families, and communities in the United States and worldwide. Okay. And just I'll read this last one. Our mission is to generate big ideas and bold solutions for a new America. Okay. So everybody just simmer on that. This is a think tank, a liberal think tank who's generating ideas, and this is where these things are not just being formulated in a closet somewhere.
No, they're not.
These are demographers, professors. They're all getting together and thinking, you know what? In this instance, we'll be better off without gender roles. Why don't we just make everything equal? Why don't we kind of blur the lines between what a man is, what a woman is, what a wife is, what a husband is?
Right.
So I just wanted to start this that way. Okay. So going back to that question, why are you showing us this white woman?
She wrote the
book. Or does this, for those naysayers and those devil's advocates out there, does this apply to Black people as well?
Yes, it does.
The content of this book.
Very much. We're in the same culture, shaped by the same forces. Yeah, it does. I mean, you're in D.C. that gives credence to that truth. Okay, with Black women back a lot like this. Okay.
Yeah. I know you were on with Dr. T last night, but his last offering about Black men being the most hated, he started off with some very, very compelling content from the 1980s. Discussing 1970s.
Yeah.
Discussing this very thing, this bifurcation, where some men at that point were realizing, you know what, they love their careers and their independence more than being in families with us. So it's amazing how some of these things have just they've been here for 50 years or more.
Oh yeah, it goes back. Yeah.
Okay, so I was laying in bed and I was thinking, okay, what to ask BGS. So now let's go back to the octane scale.
Okay.
In our discussion about partners and wives. The richer sex itself is in part about social class.
It is,
but it's also about doing away with the older gender roles and flipping them all together.
Yeah, and most of the women that she talks about are what they call 92s or educated corporate class women and above. Yeah. Very seldom you see it with working class women, white or Black. So these are educated, modern women, pretty much in her book. So,
okay. Everybody, please smash the like button. If you're new, please consider subscribing. If you want to donate something, the super chat is live and my information is in the ticker. This question is, did this book inspire your creation of the octane scale and also this concept, this discussion of partners versus wives? Because I think that discussion is what led into me purchasing this to read it.
Okay, the octane scale came from two things. One, I was a poor Black kid in the middle of South Central, right? Me and Free Ricky Ross actually grew up in the same neighborhood, right? He was like 3 blocks from where I grew up, okay? And I was bused to an upper middle class white school, okay, where my class president father was a jockey at Hollywood Park, okay? I had another guy white guy whose father was a catcher for the Dodgers. So I was up at an upper middle class white school, so I noticed a difference in class. And same thing when I went all the way through high school, right? Like I said, Ike and Tina Turner's sons were in my homeroom, okay? And Maxine Waters' daughter was also in my homeroom. Harry Belafonte's goddaughter was in my homeroom. So I saw the upper middle class black kids, saw upper middle class white kids, and when I go home, guess what? Okay, I mean, I'm down in the ghetto. Okay, so
Hmm.
I see the striation of people from all the way from the projects all the way up to the upper middle class people, right? Even some the wealthier people. And then what really got me to really think about the octanes is I was actually engaged to a woman who came from the projects, got a good job, got an education, she became a data scientist, right? And
Hmm.
so that's where the 92 climber comes from. She comes from the lower classes, and her trying to climb classes and the things that she went through. Okay, I grew up with it because I had to. I had, I had to cross classes to actually interact with my peers on both sides. So it was normal to me, and I noticed that since I was a working class guy, I wasn't, I probably could have been, where you are, but I was a working class guy, and I noticed the difference between working class women and working class men versus upper middle class people, and also very famous people. Okay, and that's where the octanes came in. 'Cause I used to call my fiance a high octane chick. In other words, she wanted to be the 92. She wanted the nice house, and she wanted the fine dining and the nice car. The car had to be a certain look, style, that kind of stuff. So that's where and I noticed there's a um, class differential about how women act, especially how women act. And but the thing is, black people don't include class into the discussion when they talk about dating and mating, even though it makes a big difference. Because I noticed that a big difference when I take a woman that is not trained to be in a class into an upper class uh, setting, okay, and vice versa into a lower class setting, and watch how they shrink because they don't belong. It's probably more impactful for women than it is for men. But that's where the octanes came in because women are really sensitive to class. People don't actually realize it, and that the longer you're with them, you can see those habits actually start to show up. So that's where
Okay.
octanes came from. But this
So
is not. Yeah.
okay. So your concept, your understanding of partners versus wives,
Right.
you learned that from your family, or did you have to read about that yourself?
It kind of experienced it because
Yes.
my mother was silent generation. Okay, my
Hmm.
grandmother was even older than that, of course. Okay, and uh, and the way I was trained about how a husband and wife interact. My mother, my father, my uncles never had to train a wife. Okay, all he did was marry her and put her in a house, and she did what she did. Okay, he never trained her, never thought about what she did. Her mother trained her how to be a wife. Okay, and um, and as a boomer going through that transition, you saw less and less and less of those skills. And then when Gen X, and then my kids' generation, which is millennial, okay, was almost gone. And I was discussing this in the 90s, and I had two, I think it's 91 or 90 91. Actually, there was an interview with two black psychologists, okay, and they were saying they were going to do away with gender roles. They said traditional gender roles were out. It was like in 1990, and I questioned. I said, if you don't bring up these kids with some kind of foundation, what's going to happen in the future? And guess what we have? We have chaos because nobody knows what to do. Really, people don't even learn how to be married, how to be a husband or wife until they get about 40 years old, and it's too late because
Hmm.
you for most women, their fertility window is past. So, um, and in other cultures, if you go to other cultures, okay, they like I think I told you that where the my Latino storekeeper, she had a baby, right? And I asked her, was she going to get uh, um, her daughter for her first birthday? She said a tea set. I said, why? She has to learn how to arrange a table, dress a table. And I thought that was weird because you don't hear about that, especially in white and black families.
Hmm.
That's something that's discussed. She was training that little girl how to be a wife.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I I shared this story with you, I think, on your panel
Hmm.
just before COVID. I met an acquaintance. That's a word my dad uses. and she told me, I think her daughters were in their 30s, and she was surprised that they hadn't set off on their motherhood journeys yet.
Right.
I think one of them had developed baby fever,
Right.
but this person noted when they were younger, I did not let them play with the dolls. I put books in their hands. So she didn't want a traditional wife lifestyle for her daughters. Which I guess the women from the older generations, they felt like those were prisons to be housewives.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they thought it limited them. Yeah, that's how come they didn't teach their daughters. Yeah.
Okay. And but before we move on from the partners versus wives, which I'm talking about this because I think this fits into this book perfectly. I slipped and mentioned your concept of proper wives, to a cousin, and she kind of, I remember she kind of looked at me like, well, what do you mean by a proper wife? Okay, so I'm saying that to say that no one has gotten, very few people have gotten training or even exposure to what a wife and a husband actually are.
Right.
It's just you're supposed to fall in love, come together, and you guys will figure it out.
Yeah, that's exactly what the psychologist said back in the early 90s. Figure it out. I said that's a recipe for, as a scientist, that's a recipe for disaster. Figuring it out on the fly.
Well, some people will think if they leave it to chance, then, it's just something you should, if you don't know, you know it. If you know you don't know it, it's just something you read about. It's just something that you would investigate.
Yeah.
It's just what you do.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me. I'm not saying who it was.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that to say there's that point of view that if you don't know it, then you just know to go ask about it. You just go to know to go find it.
If that's the case, how come we teach kids to read at an early age and instead of waiting until they get to be an adult? That's the case. How come we teach kids to read at an early age and socialize them to be in society at an early age, and we think at marriage is supposed to be something you just figure out. We don't do that with everything else. Why marriage? I mean, nobody would tell you. Nobody would tell you that I should start teaching my kid to read when they get to high school. Okay, and everybody will tell you that's way too late. Okay, you'll probably 90% of the time you'll probably be illiterate if you wait that long.
Yeah. I'm gonna read this super chat. Thank you, Black Uru, for the generous $10 super chat. He says, I noticed the octane differences when I entered an HBCU in 1979. I did not previously know Black class differences. I saw how aware Black women are in the differences between them based on money and family status.
When Tina Turner's kids are in your classroom and like that, it's class differences really quickly.
Yeah, and even just introducing the concept of, okay, well, my mentor comes from a good family, or my mentor has a highly successful family. That'll make some people bristle. Well, what's a nice family? What's a successful family? What's a
What are your signs? What are the parameters to where you define good family?
Okay, well, in that particular instance, most of those people, they were educated, but they were real go-getters, but they were also, most of them, married. So there weren't people going in and out of jail in that family. So that's what I was thinking about when I said that.
Good family for working class people is different than defining a good family for upper class people or educated people versus even rich people. Okay, a good family, what a good family is, depends on your class.
Okay.
A good family for working class people. My kids aren't on drugs and they got decent jobs. That's a good family. Okay.
Hmm.
Which for upper class educated person, that's not what they define as a good family. I
Yeah.
mean, they don't have
Oh,
degrees. They didn't go to college. They don't have corporate job. They don't have ambition. That's you know definition changes. Compared to the class.
okay. I think Black Uru is following up here. He says, when I entered college, I saw how much they talked about the family backgrounds of other
Mm-hmm.
females,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes derisively, sometimes enviously.
Mm-hmm.
I was a robe because I thought we were all just Black people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. Okay, because the barber amongst men, the barber shop is equal opportunity. You can see somebody very wealthy. Because I saw, Lakers in my barbershop. I saw NBA players, and I saw hood dudes in the same barbershop. And with white people don't do that. Okay, white people do not go to the trailer park and go to the same bars and barbershops. Okay, they're completely separate. They
Okay.
separate the classes.
Okay. That's class compression, which you just described?
That's
Yes.
class compression. And people, yeah. That's what I describe. I don't think I ever heard anybody, term it that way, in my opinion. But the thing is, when once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Okay. All right. Everybody, just in the reason I asked the question, uh, uh, does this book apply to Black people? Because there are some who will look at this and say, okay, well, why are you, what does this have to do with us? Okay.
Okay.
So I just want to cover that base. So just like Dark Ghetto, I heard about this book through you,
Uh-huh.
not through family or school. Uh we're going to talk about some of the specifics of the richer sex, but from your vantage point at a high level, what is the importance of this book and its overall contribution?
Okay. The importance of the book that I see is, um, how do you navigate, especially women, if you're going to get involved with a woman that earns more? Because more and more women are earning more, especially if you get married and say you both start off. And I think she actually pointed it out in a couple examples in her book where they get out of school, they start earning, and all of a sudden she gets raises and she starts earning more. Okay, and it gets harder and harder to actually navigate it. How do women how do men engage with a high earning spouse? How do women engage with a lower earning spouse? Okay, how do you work out the family dynamics? Is it traditional? Is it non-traditional? How do you work that out? And that's what these Hannah Rosen's book and this book, especially Liz Mundy's book, she actually goes into great detail with a lot of examples how this stuff actually plays out. And 90% of the time, not well.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. So the same the same relative who I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
the concept of quote unquote adequate wives,
Mm-hmm.
too. This
Mm-hmm.
cousin asked me, well, how do you feel about being with someone who makes more?
Right.
And afterward, it dawned on me that's the wrong question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the question you need to ask the woman who makes more.
Yes.
Would she be happy?
Right.
Would she be okay long term
Mm-hmm.
if she makes more?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the right question to
That's
ask.
the right question. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What will make her happy
Mm-hmm.
long term? All right. Now Liza Mundy was she was clicked up with the Washington Post and this New America Foundation.
Right.
So I imagine she did all the press junkets and she did all
Oh
the
yeah.
interviews back in
Oh yeah.
2012. Okay.
Yes.
So this book wasn't, it had its time in the sun. It wasn't buried
Yeah.
the way Dark Ghetto was.
No, not at all. In fact, it's very prominent. In fact, she's doing interviews and talks on this book for the next 3 or 4 years. So there's a lot of stuff out there with her speaking about this book.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna dive in a little bit. So
Okay.
for me, this book is as much a biology book as it is about culture and gender because it's discussing male and female behavior.
Mm-hmm.
It has 3 sections. Everybody, the big flip.
Yeah.
Okay, the backlash
Yeah.
and the Promised Land.
Mhm.
Chapter 1 of The Richer Sex is entitled The New Providers.
Yes.
So it's about women, and this is a theme that goes throughout. Okay. She introduces it early, but it goes throughout. So it's about women accepting the provider
Right
role.
role. Yes.
And I
yes.
put parentheses, not partners,
Yeah.
which doesn't seem to be natural for women. I'm sure you've experienced BGS, the my money is my money,
Yes.
your money's our money thing in your
Yes.
lifetime.
Yes. Yes.
Mundy argues hard for women to accept the provider role in the book.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we're probably going to end with this, but is that natural for women?
Yeah. Yeah. All over the world, you see almost the exact same thing. Japanese women had a problem with the same thing. Okay. African women have problems with the same thing.
Okay.
The my money is my money, and his money is takes care of the family. In fact, I was just listening to a girl from South Sudan. She was saying that African men believe in when they're together, they pay 100%, 100% provide. So that is a very, very common all the way around the world. So it's very common. So I don't know if there's biology, you consider it biology, or just hardened cultural norms that have been passed down over the thousands of years. I don't know, but it seems to be to me associated with biology. In fact, I had a black woman bristle when I said women are natural takers, okay, and men are natural givers. And biologically, because she's in the animal world too. I mean, the male bird brings things to the nest. Okay, the female bird doesn't bring anything to the male. So biologically, I don't see the where women actually give their males things. Okay, I don't see that. I see most time we see paired entities. It's always the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
Where the bird, the bee, whatever it is bringing something to the nest, and not it bringing something to the individual. So now that's something for you to ponder, but that's my opinion of it. So
okay. It's chapter 6.
okay.
I made I was going through my library last night. I actually made 3 voiceovers from this book. Those are all in the description box in case anybody wants to listen. But the first one in chapter 6, and it involves she describes young women in college sitting amongst each other, talking about whether or not they could date someone who's not college educated. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not much of a surprise. But she also describes having very high standards for what their spouse should be. Like Sheryl Sandberg, and I can't think of her. I didn't write her husband's name down, but they're basically 2 tech highly successful people.
Right.
She cited Prince William and Kate.
Yes.
Okay, so the ladies she described in her book, they wanted that type of pairing, someone as much a power couple.
A power couple, yeah.
Right. Let me go back to my question here.
Nathan and Julia Hare in the black community, amongst the black elites, yeah.
Yeah.
Power couple.
Is that something that started for Gen X or for your generation? Were they talking about, well, I have to have my Barack Obama as well? Did you, or I guess in your day it would have been my Adam Clayton Powell or my I don't know who are the
I think that's always been the aspiration of women, but thing is they couldn't until the 60s or 70s they couldn't actually enact. I think until the 80s they couldn't really enact it. Okay, at the end of the day, if you want to be married, you have to take what you can get because the market determines what you're going to get. And I think when the 90s going forward, women thought they can actually outdo the market. The market didn't matter. Okay, my aspiration. I think all women wanted a man better, because it goes all the way back to the so-called fairy tales, right? Okay, the princess never marries the frog.
Right.
Okay, the princess marries the king.
Right.
She
Right.
doesn't marry. Cinderella didn't marry down; she married up. That
Yeah.
is very
Or
common.
or the frog magically turns into a prince or a king
Into a
later,
prince. Yeah, she converts him into a prince or a king. Yeah.
which Mundy talks about in the book
Yes. Yes.
as well, raising
Yeah.
up the man, making him be better, the men striving to be
Right.
better
Right.
for the woman.
For the woman, yeah, she converts him transforming him into into her prince or her king. Yes.
Yeah. So the way I'm interpreting that, looking at that high level, is that there's uh, a shift in focus. Well, I mean, you can make the argument that she wants him better so that she'll have better children, or her children will be better taken care of. But it seems
Right.
that's more of what she wants versus thinking about the children first. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know. It's very interesting. So early on, Mundy also notes that uh, uh, women in college also started questioning whether or not they even needed men. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is something that grew legs and just went off to the races. And this
Mm-hmm.
particularly hits home for me because in my family, that's something that's continuously stressed over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
We need, you know, you need somebody. Men and
Mm-hmm.
women need each other. You're
Yeah.
not meant to be alone. You're not
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be alone.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do when you have a cohort who says, well, no, I don't need you now that I have a job and I have an education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have a society that where you don't need to be paired up with anybody or with another family,
Yeah.
because the society is actually built for you to actually exist alone. You know, in cities where your needs are pretty much taken care of, or actually can be bought by other people from other people, you don't. Like you don't need a woman to survive. Okay, or take care of your house, because of the amenities and devices can actually do most of that stuff for you. You don't need it. So it's not a need anymore. The only reason you need to be married and have a wife today is if you have children. Okay. Like if you had
Mhm.
children, then okay, you're gonna need help. Okay, you're gonna need another person. Okay, children, especially if you're working, you can't do that by yourself and raise proper children. It's impossible. In fact, you need more than two people to actually help raise children properly, in my opinion. So,
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I mean, you're the icon of being able to live independently without a spouse. Okay, because you're successful, you do well, you're comfortable, you seem to be happy. Okay, you exist without a somebody else because the environment says I don't need it.
Hmm.
Okay, so if you're on a farm someplace, you need a wife. You need a wife. You need kids. You need hands. Okay, if you're gonna be successful. Okay, not so much anymore.
Right. I think this 10 years ago, this would have been important to know,
Uh huh.
uh, at least knowing and understanding the environment and understanding the field that uh, there are ladies out and about who don't think a man is necessary in their
Mm-hmm.
lives.
Right.
Well,
And basically,
or maybe according to her whims and wishes, maybe periodically for certain things,
yeah. Okay. Oh,
but not.
we should make women purchase it the same way men do.
Mhm.
And, that's what I believe. No free penis. That's my call. Okay. If you want to be a man, pay for it just like we pay for it.
Mhm.
That's what I believe. Okay. You want to outsource that. Okay. Go ahead and buy them. Buy whatever you like.
Yeah. Now, I think Mundy was talking about this in the context of marriage, But I think we've also seen in terms of the extreme misandrist circle, we've also seen the opinion that men in general are just useless, or the world will be better without us.
That has been the well, if the world that men built could be maintained by them, I guess they wouldn't be. But women don't do those jobs. Women don't do the maintenance. Women, there's a lot of stuff that men to their individual lives, they probably are useless. But thing is, men as a group, no, they're not. And but women are very narrow vision like that. They don't see the wider picture.
Okay, so for the gentlemen in the chat, please feel to react to this one. Mundy in chapter 6, she also discusses more and more men staying home and actually liking it. Men enjoying cooking and being around the house. Go ahead.
And the two examples she gives are actually who? Black men. Okay, they weren't white; they were black men.
I thought particularly when she talked about Atlanta, I thought she was talking about black families.
Yeah, Atlanta, and then I think there was another black family up north, like Ohio or something like that. Okay, they had a similar experience. Yeah.
Okay, I thought the family she talked about a family in Michigan too. I thought that they they were white.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They were actually black. Yeah.
Okay. So some men are comfortable with that arrangement, and they're more than willing to cook and take care of the house. But also there's a dichotomy there, because some of the women resent it.
Yeah,
are disgusted by coming home and seeing a man there not slogging off to work every day with them. Go ahead.
There was a story in her book about the same thing, a black couple, okay, and a woman who's that successful in Washington, D.C., right? And she was successful, and she had her career, and her husband stayed home and took care of the family. And when the children got grown, she was going to divorce him, because to her he was then useless. And so he had to go back to school and become a teacher, is because he knew that their marriage was pretty much over. It's because she didn't have respect for the guy, even though he stayed home and took care of the kids, blah blah blah. Because he wasn't a breadwinner, or he didn't work, he was actually useless to her. So this is that's very common. In fact, there was one where I think it was a woman I think she was in Arizona, if I'm not mistaken, where she was a high earner, and she got disgusted by her husband, who was a lower earner, and she said she got rid of him and got a dog. So that's also very common.
So everybody, it goes back to the question I asked a few minutes ago, that my cousin asked to me. The right question is, under these new arrangements, with the higher earning, what would make the higher earning woman happy?
Right.
That's the way I'm looking at this. Because if it's going to be a peaceful home,
right.
I could see a significant number of men being okay staying at home,
right,
and cooking,
right,
and a lot of men find cooking fun.
Yeah.
While today we're seeing online a lot of ladies detest it and think that it's beneath them. A lot of men actually find it to be fun and fulfilling.
Yeah, I've seen that switch where, even in stories, there's a lot more men that are actually the main cooks of the house, and the women don't cook anymore. And probably for a good reason, because they're bad at it. So men said, if I'm gonna have bad food, it might as well be mine.
Okay. So the BGS for this last section, I'm not going to hold you all afternoon.
Okay.
I'm just going to because as I picked the book up, I I started reading the book.
Mm-hmm.
I did those voiceovers, and then I put it down for a couple of years.
Okay.
And then I picked it up about a month ago, and I sprinted through it. So I've got all these Post-its in it. So I'm just gonna go over some highlights, and
Okay. Yeah.
if you can give reaction,
Okay.
give your thoughts on it, that we can wrap up that way.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, the book is, the thing is, if you read through the book, it's very repetitive. The stories, the same things keep coming up over and over and over again. And it's normally the women that are the problem. And when it does work, it's because the women actually accept him being the caretaker, okay, or the man at home. Okay, when it doesn't work, it's because women don't like that. I think in your example with your cousin, I think she's involved, and I think you said that it wasn't him, it was her. She wasn't comfortable with being the higher earning spouse.
Okay. Well, I think she had asked me in particular if I was okay with someone who made more.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if we're talking about the same story here.
Okay.
But that particular cousin specifically asked me, "Are you comfortable? Mm-hmm. Are you okay with someone who makes more?"
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, this particular chapter,
mm-hmm.
I think, was the only chapter in the book like this.
Okay.
Chapter 8. This was very eye-opening to me. Because chapter 8 is called "Sex and the Self-Efficient Girl."
Okay.
And one section is called "You're Not a Whore If You're Not Getting Paid for It."
Okay.
This particular passage took place in Atlanta, so I suspect the women at the table were Black.
Mm-hmm.
But it basically involved discussing that their education and their jobs allowing them to be promiscuous,
mm-hmm.
And also being very sexually picky,
mm-hmm.
And in ways, and also looking at men the way men look at women. We know that in years past, there was always infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
But is this just an artifact of now that the education allows for this type of thing, the jobs allow for this type of promiscuity, and having the 12 a.m. guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. It's because women don't have to trade sex for provision anymore. So that gives her independence the way she thinks the man is independent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They think men do what they do because of money. Men do what they do is because of testosterone. A poor man with no money does the exact same thing that a man with money does.
Mm-hmm.
In his circle, if he could. Okay. There's no difference. Okay. Women think that money allows me to be sexually free. And she's doing no more than what the women in the projects do. I don't know why they think that money allows them to act like a man. Okay, there's probably more women have more sex with more men down in the projects versus them. The thing is, the women at the top with money are more picky about it, or more picky who they actually bring into their circle. That's where the 12 to 5 guy comes from. Okay. Especially in DC is the one town that it happens a lot. Okay. I just talked to a lot of guys, and working class guys and below in DC, and I said, I date this high powered woman. She makes $300,000 a year, and I date her. And I said, are you sure you're dating her? He said, yeah, I date her. Okay. I'm not saying having sex, but date her. He said, yeah, I do date her. Have you met her best friends? No. Have you met her family? Okay. No, you're not dating her. Okay. You're providing sex to her. You're a concubine. And men get upset with that because to men dating, the reason you date is to have sex. Okay. Men don't think that women having sex is not dating. So men have it backwards. Okay.
Mhm.
That woman, she knows I'm not dating this guy. I'm just, he's fulfilling a need, which is why he comes in at 12 and he leaves at 5 with a juice box. Okay. A lot of guys get upset with that because they don't like the idea of them being in a woman's role. To them, that's a woman's role.
Mhm.
Being a sex provider. Okay. Sex is something women give to you and men receive. And men are not used to giving sex and having a woman receive. Okay.
Mhm.
They think that high powered woman that's inviting them in at 11:30 and pushing them out at 5 is giving them something. And no, they're not. Okay. You are actually giving to her for free something that if roles were actually reversed, you'd have to pay her, compensate her in some kind of way.
Mhm.
A lot of guys are wired. They can't. I've offended a lot of guys by saying that, especially in the DC area. A lot of guys got offended by me saying that. But the thing is, I was trained by a bunch of Macs and gigolos and stuff like that, and they're the ones that told me, okay, that after 3, you got to get paid. Got a main one, you might have a side chick, you might have you might have a FWB, but after that, okay, she's got to compensate you for your time.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. But yeah, but women, at that level, uh, it's a newfound, how can I say, newfound experience where they can actually where the old traditional roles have kind of decayed, and they're left with I can do whatever I want as long as I can afford it. And think that they're doing what men do, but they're not. Okay, they don't pay for dates, they don't pay for sex, they don't have side dudes that they in Africa they have sugar mommies. In Africa, okay, if an older woman wants a younger man, she takes care of him. She pays him. She compensates him for his youth and his time. Okay, in the West, not so much.
Mhm.
So they're not standing in the place of men. Okay, they think they are, or they believe that they are, but they're not. But and they find out that it's not what they think it is. It's because they still act like women. They still act like pergamous. Um, and they get mad because I'm a 4 and I got money, but I want this guy that's a 8 or 9, and I think because I have an education and a job, I deserve it. But the thing is, you're not compensating. Okay, and you don't want to do what a man would do. Okay, a dude that's a 4. Okay, say even Dr. Dunbar. Okay, if he gets a starlet, okay, a woman that's a 9 or 10, a beauty queen. Okay, an Ebony K. Williams when she was young. Okay, Dr. Dunbar said I got to compensate her as a man. It's because I'm buying, I'm compensating her for the beauty that I'm acquiring. Women don't see it that way.
Mhm.
Outside of maybe Oprah or people of her ilk. Okay, it's starting to be more common where women that are higher earners are paying for guys that are lower. But you don't see it as much.
Okay. Well, I 3R, I think YouTube is hiding your comment. I saw a post about Gayle King dating a guy and having to loan him $4,000 to be up to date on child support, and she couldn't really respect him after that moment.
Right.
Okay.
Whitney Houston had to pay Bobby Brown's child support, uh, so it does happen. But the thing is, she couldn't respect him. There's always turmoil behind it.
Mhm. Okay. All right, everybody, please smash the like button. Also, if you're watching on the playback, I always forget to say, if the hype feature is there, please hype this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Chapter 9 is called Desirable Women.
Okay.
And this one gets to whether men find these high earning women desirable. Again, something many families don't talk about with their kids. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
she spends time in this book actually talking about, men. There are a lot of high earning men who don't want to marry their peer.
Right.
Okay. That seems to be a well kept secret.
I mean,
At least until these high earning ladies get out, that's when they confront it, but no one's telling them on the way up. When you become a CEO or this high powered thing, the men in your cohort, they may not want.
Okay, I mean, you're in that cohort, you're in that class. What's your experience with that? Okay, because you run into these women all the time. Okay, high earning women and trying to date, and you're a high earning man. Um, when you try to date them, what's your experience when you try to date them?
Well,
And
my experience.
How come you don't really look for them as much?
Well, my experience. Many of them are so much into their careers. They don't seem interested in. They're interested in something else.
Okay. The something else is what's your guess? I know you don't have an answer. What's your guess about what are they into?
Well, maybe they have someone somewhere else.
Okay.
Maybe, well, workplace fraternization that's been discouraged.
Okay.
In our generation.
Okay.
But yeah, many of them don't seem interested, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so high earning women in your cohort, okay, because there's tons of them in DC. High earning women in your cohort, what are they looking for? What's desirable to you as far as a desirable woman? Is it about money, how she acts, how she presents? What a man, a high earning man, high value man, such as yourself, what are you actually looking for?
Well, obviously, I'm a man, so I'm visual.
Mm-hmm.
And from there it goes to her personality and would we be able to coexist?
Okay.
I'm not interested in spending myself into the poorhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Black Uru pointed it out right there. Maybe I'm not a social climber.
Okay.
They are looking for men who are social climbers. Maybe that's it right there.
Could be. So the thing is, okay, there a lot of these women are not, if that's the case, how come they're not finding men in colleges, finding men that are just starting out with their careers? How come they're not taking those kind of men? If they're social climbers, they want men to be social climbers. So the thing is, what do they want? And is it? Well, I know what black women, what they want is, the first two things. They want the guy to look good. They want the guy to be sexually enabled, and then the money and the status come along with it. Okay, but whereas white women, it's status and provision first, and then the other ones actually trail behind it. But as a woman of means, what does she look for? Okay, and normally a woman of means, like you said, looking for a man that's at her level and above. So she's looking for the same thing that a woman of a lower class is looking for. It doesn't change. It's just the standards get higher. And what do you do when you run out of those guys? Because there's only so many guys at the top, and higher earning men like you are not looking for the same things that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not looking, like Kevin said, you don't within reason. You don't care what she makes. Okay, she can make half of what you make, and she'd be perfectly fine as long as she's suitable to be your mate. Okay, women don't see it the same way. Okay, a man that makes half of what she makes is suitable to be her concubine, not her mate.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he fits the aesthetics, looks, not even attitude, but looks and sexual prowess. He's suitable to be a concubine.
Okay.
So I think those are two different things. That's the 12 to 5 guy that gets her, that feels her need, and then socially she shuns him because he's more of an appliance than he is than a person. He's an assistant to her as far as sex is.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, in this chapter, okay, she discusses women falling back from marriage altogether due to inadequate options. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Women tailoring. This is what's interesting. Women tailoring the market to their needs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. I'm not sure I quite understand that. How one would do that.
They try to tailor. They tailor the market to their needs. In other words, they try to find avenues and places where the men that they desire exist.
Mm-hmm.
Tailoring the market. Okay. In other words, it's like walking into a showroom. Okay, you walk into a regular showroom or a Mercedes Benz or a Ferrari showroom. They're different. That's tailoring your market by tailoring your environment.
Okay.
Which eventually doesn't work. The more people you have, there's only so many of these things that can be actually produced, especially human beings,
Mm-hmm.
in a certain market. So the dating market doesn't work the same way that the consumer market works.
Right. I thought this was interesting. Mundy stated, marriage at its best is a machine for mutual self-improvement.
Bullshit, but it's okay.
Well, but that's that thing of, okay,
That's that partnership stuff where you're supposed to be able to be your best self within a function of the machine. That's what they're taught in school.
Okay, to constantly level up.
Yes,
More.
or find yourself, whether it's money, whether it's experience, whether it's enlightenment. Okay, in other words, that's what marriage is for, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
Never has been, and which is why they fail. Okay, marriage. This is the redefinition of what marriage is. She's explained to you how modern women see marriage. That's how come the divorce rate is so high.
Okay.
Because it's not giving you what you desire out of that marriage. It's not supposed to be where of mutual benefit to the individual. Okay, no, it's supposed to be there to do two things: one, bring families together and raise children. Okay, I would say most men and women do not. If you don't have kids, you don't need to be married. Why are you married? Okay, that's where the partnership comes in, to pay bills, to have a better life outcome by combining income, so I can buy a bigger house and buy a better car, share bills. Is that what it's for? That's what it's for. Then you don't really need to be married. You actually sign a domestic partnership that does the same thing. Marriage is for children, because children need a mother and father and grandma and aunties, all that kind of stuff. That's what they need. Okay. That's what it's for. If you go back to what marriage is actually for, is to tie a man's labor, okay, and his time to a woman and children.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's for. Okay, that's what it's always been for. And feminism has redefined it into something that it's not. That's why it doesn't work. Just like
Okay.
LeVar Ball, you look at LeVar Ball, okay? His marriage did what it's supposed to do, was actually raise 3 successful children. That's what it does. That's how come he's not mad at getting divorced after 30 years. Okay, the marriage did what it was actually supposed to do. Okay, till death do us part. It'd be fine if he could do it. The thing is, guess what? My kids are grown. They're successful. They're wealthy. We're wealthy. Blah blah blah. So if she wants to go be happy with somebody else, he's fine with it. Because
Okay.
he did what it's supposed to do.
Okay. I was thinking there are quite a few there are people who believe that let's say you're an empty nester,
Mm-hmm.
and you want to get together with somebody, you should still get married. It's the right thing to do is still to get married, even if you're beyond your baby making years.
Mm-hmm.
It's still bad to shack up together,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're both post 50.
Hmm.
The proper thing to do is to marry.
The proper thing to do socially is to get married. Okay. So we're not talking about proper. We talk about the baseline as a scientist, the biological reason of the actual reason that you get married. Okay.
Hmm.
Socially, to be socially acceptable to most people, marriage, shacking up, marriage is what you're supposed to do. Okay.
Hmm.
Shacking up was actually discouraged is because it made it too easy for men to actually bounce and leave the family.
Hmm.
So shacking up was actually discouraged. What happens if you shack up, you have a couple kids, you're not legally tied to that man, he bounces. Okay. It's a big downside for the family of the woman. So tying him legally to that family, okay, dissuades him from moving or moving on. So that's like a
Hmm.
shacking up was always discouraged. It had nothing to do with social acceptance. The thing is, there's bad outcomes back in the past for a woman shacking up with a man that's not tied to that's not married, okay, because he's not legally responsible for her or those children. So that's what marriage is.
Okay.
So there's man, because you're a scientist, man. There's things that you do that you do without thinking about, but there's a very good reason why those things were actually put into place. And we research it. Okay, this is why we proceed this way. Well, this is why we sterilize our test subjects. This is why we do yada yada yada. There's a reason why we do stuff. It's not just uh, something that came out of nowhere. Okay, there's a lot of trial and error that went into developing the methods that we use.
Hmm.
Sometimes in social settings, we actually lose the reason why we do stuff. And I think marriage and mating is one of the things where the why has gotten lost
Hmm.
into the
Hmm.
what I want and what okay then the thing is they've done this over the past 50 years and you've basically blown up your society where men don't want to get married. They don't even want to date. Because I get
Hmm.
this all the time. How come men don't want to date? Dating is supposed to be enjoyable. Is dating enjoyable anymore? No. You blame men for not dating? No. Why should they? What do they get out of it? But women think that it doesn't matter what the man gets out of it. He's supposed to do it because he's supposed to do it. Because it's always been done that way. And no matter what the environment is, he's still supposed to do it. No, it doesn't work that way. There's a reason why he does it. There's a reason why he gets married. Okay. There's a reason why they put families together. In Africa, they just put families together is because they need to raise children. They don't think about the whether you like her or not, whether you romantically inclined to her or not. No. Uh, we need to produce children. He needs a wife and she needs a husband. Their personality actually match. Put them together and let them find out about each other, and we'll help keep them together.
Okay.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Not
So
not 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 in society anyway.
no discussion of the spark, or
No,
I didn't feel that thing,
no. And
or
and guess who has the least amount of divorce? Arranged marriages. Less than 10% divorce.
Mhm.
And in the modern way, it's closer to 70. Okay, the modern way.
Mhm. Okay.
So which works? The thing. In other words, what works and what doesn't. So there, and we got to find out why one way works and why the other way does not work. We haven't done that because we refuse to actually examine it because that's not what we want. We actually want our choice to matter more. And the thing
Mhm.
is, I was telling, I was just on with Rom, okay, and same thing I said in a video, okay. What game are you married to? What game is that woman married to? Okay, why did my mother and father stay married until death, literally until death? Okay, did they part? Okay, why? It's not because what the man did; it's because what she believed in. She believed that in death do us part, and that marriage was actually more important than the man, and that doesn't exist anymore. So I
Mhm.
always say, what game is that woman actually married to? She's not married to you; she's married to the game. So what game is she married to?
Okay. All
And,
right.
the way her final statement about what marriage is supposed to be tells you everything you need to know about the book. and how women or the modern breadwinners see marriage and mating.
Okay.
Okay.
So let me see. So we're almost done. Let's see. Desirable marriage. Chapter 10 is called The New World of Non-Marriage Choices. Okay. So Mundy talks about LAT, life apart together.
Together. Yes. Yeah.
Issues with women outperforming men. Okay, she actually starts talking about interracial dating and black men in particular dating out. And this was interesting. The rise of traveling to find mates if none locally were deemed adequate. Okay, but she wasn't talking about passport bros. She was talking about men doing that, but she was talking about, okay, well, women are going to start doing this as well.
Okay. Yeah, but for women, Western women doesn't translate as well.
Okay.
It's because if a woman travels to a developing country, she's the breadwinner. Is she comfortable with that? And we found out that, guess what? When they travel and they become the breadwinner, they're not comfortable with that, and want to divorce and leaving that man and staying alone. It's because they're not comfortable with it. Internally, they're not. Philippine. Look at passport cis. Okay, even white women actually travel to actually have children, right? Okay, they don't stay and marry that man. They leave and go back to where they came from with the child. They don't stay there and take care of that man because they don't believe in it, or they don't want to live at the at the man's level. Yeah. The African man is perfectly willing to take care of her, but saying she has to live at his level. She's not willing to live there. There are a rare few women, especially white women, that are willing to live at the man's level and have him take care of her, but that's rare. And there's a rare few that will actually come in and actually because they have the means to take care of that man. Okay, and him be supportive, but that's rare. And most of the women that have traveled, become passport cis, and have husbands overseas, especially overseas, okay, they wind up leaving that man, having a couple of kids, and then leaving him. So the phenomenon doesn't change just because you change locations. So what she said, the rise of it, they've run the experiment, and guess what? What is Feynman said? It doesn't matter what your theory is or how good the math is. If it doesn't agree with the results of the experiment, guess what? It's wrong. And you as what you do, you probably would agree with me. And it doesn't matter what your theory is. Okay, once you run that experiment, the results are the results.
Well, that's what was interesting about reading this book, and I said this on your channel, I think, was that the way she wrote this, it was this: the future's gonna be,
yes,
the new world is gonna consist of all these things.
And when you run the experiment, not so much, right? Yeah, because it was new then. That's it. With her book and Hannah Rose and End of Men, it was new. They had finally reached what they call feminine equity. Finally reached it. Okay, now that you hear what's going to happen, they thought, okay, women are actually going to take charge, and men are going to be at home, and they were going to adapt, and you're going to have these great families. Women were actually the breadwinners, and men were supportive, and blah 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 blah. Not so much. Okay, not so much. And it's the women that are struggling, not the men, because the men don't talk about this for the most part. They don't talk about hiring women. And when they talk about hiring women, they talk about how hard she was actually to get along with in the marriage. Okay, she got dissatisfied. She was always nagging. She was always critical. She was always yada yada yada. In fact, there was a story, I think it was in the UK, where a woman became a hiring man because the man lost his job, right? And they had like 3 kids, and so she had the job, and she could be the breadwinner, and he stayed home. And he wasn't trained to be at home and take care of a house, so he's learning. And she was dissatisfied about how he did things. Okay, took care of the home, yada yada yada. And they were getting ready to get divorced, so they went to a counselor. And the counselor said, "Why don't you just let him take care of the house the way he wants to take care of the house, and you go do what you do, and leave him alone. Okay, let him adjust, and you adapt to how he takes care of the house. And you help him learn how to take care of the house. And what you found out is, okay, he started bringing in. He took it on as a job and not as as a calling. Okay, how can I actually get this job done? How can I clean the house, make the food, repair stuff, blah blah. She found out he actually did way more than she would have. It did it way more efficiently. Same thing happened in Liz Mundy's book, where the black man, I think it was in Michigan, where the black wife was actually the breadwinner, and he was a stay-at-home dad, and he would do the yard work, he would do the repairs. He found a way to be efficient as far as cooking and cleaning, and he did it way more efficiently than she did.
Okay.
Because men see it as a job, and women see it as a burden. So,
Yeah.
Because most men that stay at home, okay, I'm supposed to do this, and this. How can I actually figure out a way to actually do this the easiest way? And she started buying him appliances to actually help with his job that she thought was unnecessary, but actually worked. Okay. A bread maker, a certain kind of kitchen appliances, and that he actually used to actually create the meals, and found out he was way more efficient with it. But that's the way men do things, and women don't always like that because they think of the aesthetic and the way they were taught to take care of a house is not the same way. And so the psychiatrist, so the therapist said, let him. Okay, you don't try to dictate about him taking care of the house because he's running the house, you're not. Let him do it his way. Let him find his way, and she did, and it actually wound up working. And that was in the UK. And these were two white couples in the UK. So this is very common.
You might find this question interesting. Excalibur says, how come the women in Scandinavian countries are better at being providers? Is the environment there that much different?
The training is different. The environment is a little bit different. But guess what? Scandinavian couples have a high divorce rate. And plus, you got to remember, Scandinavian countries, okay, say like Norway and Sweden. Norway has like 5 million people, and Sweden has maybe 10, okay, which is a large city in the United States. So it's a much smaller grouping of people. They're not large countries. They're more communal than we are. So that's probably why. But they had the same problems, okay, with out of wedlock birth rates. Out of wedlock birth rates are pretty high in Scandinavia.
Okay, there you go.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. They're more communal.
They're very communal. But you got to remember, they have high out of wedlock birth rates in Scandinavian countries, and they have very high divorce rates in Scandinavian countries. So
okay, wow.
So them being providers, no, I don't think so. I don't think they're any better. They probably do it differently.
Okay. Excalibur, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, salute. Much appreciated. Okay, we're just about at the end. Chapter 11 is the view from abroad.
Okay.
So she gave a little what we know about Asia now. She gave a look into Asia. We've recently heard about the 4B movement in Korea, but this marriage and birth rate disintegration has been brewing for quite some time in places like Japan.
Right.
Mundy talks about women having to marry down, and she introduces the word shengnu.
Oh yeah, leftover. Yeah.
It's right there on print.
Yeah.
Leftover women.
Yeah.
So rest in power, Kevin. That's the first place I heard about shengnu. She talks about disruption of the old ways, and then the distinction between grass versus meat-eating men. The meat-eating men, they're the more economically viable. Shout out to Scott Galloway.
Yeah.
And then there's in some of those countries there was the importing of brides. I think what was it? Was it China importing them from Vietnam, or was it
China and Korea importing them from Vietnam? Yeah, and Cambodia and other places. Yeah.
Okay, and then she documented men going to Thailand.
Uh-huh.
I think she was talking about American men here.
Yeah.
Western men going to Thailand.
Yeah.
And
Australia and Western men, yeah, going to Thailand.
And Spanish men in Europe bringing in
Latin American wives.
women.
Yeah.
So this whole thing has been this was going on in 2012.
Yeah. It was just getting started in 2012. Yeah.
So many of the men were saying, look, we don't like this new recipe, so we're gonna try to work around this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're not getting men aren't getting their needs met. So
right.
Yeah. That's why the marriage is a marketplace. Women don't see it that way. They see it as a right, but it's a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And women don't think they have to compete in the marketplace.
Okay. This is funny in a way, but no. Okay, you said it yourself. The experiment has been run. They hadn't run the experiment back then,
right?
To see where this would leave everybody.
Yeah. I mean, you as a scientist know. Okay, you got to run the experiment. I always say, okay, I believe this. I believe. Run the experiment and see what happens. Okay. Well, it doesn't mean anything to you actually run the experiment.
Well, the other fundamental lesson I had to learn was if it's working, don't mess with it. Don't.
That is true.
My graduate advisor said you have this system running right now. It's up and working.
Yeah.
Don't change anything.
Don't fuck with it. That's in other words, in the vernacular, he's probably told you don't fuck with it.
Yeah.
It's running. It's probably his exact words. Don't fuck with it.
Salute to Doug Ruffin from the Buffalo History Channel. Thank you for stopping through. The last chapter, chapter 12, was called Our Female Future. Okay. And all I'll say is that chapter, I think it was the black couple you described.
Mm-hmm.
She spoke to a few families up in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah.
And as I was reading this, I was thinking, okay, Michigan, more of a blue collar traditional values area than someplace like DC.
Right. Yeah.
But that last chapter was basically about women accepting the provider role.
Yes.
And the workarounds and them and their husbands deciding to do what was best for the family and their children.
Right.
No matter how it looked.
And they were black too. I remember that.
Okay.
They were black couples, yeah.
Okay. So for this type of thing to work, long story short, you need the woman to accept the provider role.
Yes.
And be content with it.
Yes. That's the biggest factor, yeah.
But therein lies the quagmire, because once after going to school for all these years, attaining these careers, attaining these salaries, in many instances, the provider role, quote unquote, with a grown man involved,
right, exactly,
is undesirable. It seems undesirable.
Yeah, and that's their biology that they're struggling with. They're there to actually take care of children, not grown men. Men are supposed to give to them to take care of the kids.
Even if the man is providing the support at home, right?
Yeah.
Even if he's cooking and cleaning and going to practices and basketball games.
Yeah. He's the help. He's not really a husband. He's the help.
Okay. Black Guru says, if the woman is not overly concerned about and invested in social status, she might be more amenable to being the provider. If she is concerned about appearances, she won't be able to do it.
Yeah, this is very common all over the world. It's not a Western thing. It's very common, and there's a reason that women are not comfortable with being providers. Okay, so and sometimes it can be acceptable, but the thing is that is that women are uncomfortable with it. The same thing with go back to Du Bois and the Philadelphia Negro, right? A lot of women took their men out when they lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it didn't matter. I'd rather be a single mother than have a man that doesn't have a job in the house. You just put him out. So this is not new.
Okay. BGS, do you have 5 more minutes?
Go ahead.
I mean, you have daughters. Black Uru has daughters. I'm tempted. Black
Uh-huh.
Uru, do you want to come and give the benediction, as Mr. Z said? I'll drop the link for a moment. If Black Uru wants to come up and say a few words on this, I value what you guys have to say.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, they've run this experiment. They've run an experiment all over the world. Japan lends to it. Okay. Can some women get over it and become outliers and accept it? That's always been the case. There's been a case where go back and look at Tyrese and Baby Boy. Okay. Where the women took care of him. And he was the he wasn't a worker. Okay, his mother and his girlfriends took care of him. There are always outliers, but things for the most part it doesn't work as far as society is concerned. For the most part.
Okay. For those who are watching on the playback and maybe tuning in late, this is all centered around Liza Mundy's book, The Richer Sex. Black Uru is here to give the benediction. Black Uru, how you doing?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Doc. I don't know if I have much of any sort of.
I know.
I will say, look, I've known a couple of people where, in fact, one of my wife's best friends, she was big senior level executive with a sort of a hospital conglomerate. And very highly paid, 6 at some point, I guess, 7-figure earner. And her husband mostly stayed at home. And the interesting thing is, it wasn't like, I mean, he was probably as educated as she was. And they both had master's degrees, business degrees from, I think his business degree was from Michigan. I think her business degree was from Ohio State. So, these were progressive people, but for some reason she started ascending. He, not probably, in hindsight, he's more of a kind of a hands-on kind of guy. So, and she, because she was ascending so well, in terms of her career, it just kind of made sense for him to fall back and for her to ascend. And now they're retired now. She's done very well. They do very well. But one thing, and this is what I've observed, in their relationship, she's kind of she's kind of an interesting person in that she can be very extroverted when she needs to be extroverted, particularly in terms of her profession. But personally, she's not very extroverted. She's
an introvert.
Probably more introverted.
She's an introvert.
So she's not especially motivated from a social standpoint. You don't have to attend all the parties and all the charity events and the golf. She's not that kind of person. I think because she was not as motivated in that way, I think it was easier for her to tolerate and accept and embrace their arrangement. From what I've seen is typically, though, women like her are so motivated in terms of their social status and position and movement that it becomes difficult for, they want to either try to hide the man or, kind of, lie about what he is and what he does. It becomes this difficult thing for them to internally manage.
Okay.
That's part of it.
Well, it sounds like they were able to make that work long term.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, it's largely because of her, and also he was one of these guys who became very sort of, do everything, building sheds, build. He can do anything, in terms of very sort of hands-on, very
around the house, stuff like that.
Building driveways, and he really kind of took to doing a lot of hands-on kind of stuff, and good-looking guy, and that sort of
yeah. So it fit. Yeah.
So it worked. It worked for them. Like I say, I think in most cases, well, look, and I'm not a woman, so I don't know. This is just my supposition. I think it's difficult for a female to look at someone who's bigger and stronger than they are and taller than they are, and feel like they have to take care of that person. I think it's a biological, physical, visceral kind of thing. And it's understandable. I'm not a woman, but I can understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. The two cases in Michigan is exactly what you're talking about, where the women actually accepted, or actually more successful, and they accepted that actually needed a man at home, and he actually took on that role exactly the way that you described your friend. He's almost to the letter. Those are examples.
Yeah. I mean, but unfortunately. You mentioned like the night. It's interesting as you were talking about the octane thing. I was having these flashbacks to when I first went to college. Like I said, 1979. Prior to that, I grew up in Chicago, mostly blue collar, whatever. I was not aware of the differences in class, both economical as well as educationally,
and socially, yeah.
Exactly. And so when I went to school, I was shocked by the distinctions everyone were making amongst each other based on different family background and what family owned this particular company and who went to this particular school with the sons of these particular famous people, as you mentioned, attending school with Ike and Tina's children, and they all knew each other or knew of each other, which was also interesting. It's like when you get to a certain level, everybody kind of knows either each other directly, or there's one or only 2 degrees of separation among those people. They know of someone who knows of those people.
Right.
And so when you talk about difference in status and octane, I think a lot of what Black people, maybe as a lower status Black people, don't realize is that those people all know each other. And getting to that level isn't just about money. It isn't just about education. It's about network. It's about who went to school with whomever, or whose father was whatever, or mother was whatever.
Right.
It's a lot of that kind of stuff, and that can be more of an impediment to social climbing, so to speak, than just whether or not you make a certain amount of money, or even if you have a certain degree, so to speak.
Yeah, and my fiance was finding out it's more than just how much money you make or the job that you have. Okay, if you're not socialized to be around those people, it can be difficult.
Right, and because I can personally test. I've met people of a certain status solely because of my wife and who her father was and whatever, that I would never have met these people. And I'm talking about fairly high status Black people in the Chicago area. I never would have met these people were I not married to.
Yeah. I found out because of the way schools that I went to at an earlier age, right? I can actually start chatting with a so-called higher class person. Within 5 minutes, we're friends. We're talking the same language.
talk the same language, same or similar associations or overlapping
very similar
associations.
worldviews, simple curiosity, stuff like that. Yeah. So,
and when you say language, it is really that specific. I mean, there's certain like diction, you know,
there is
use, and people who don't, you know, it doesn't become a part of your parlance unless you are in that particular area and have had those particular interactions.
You know what the biggest shock was, Uru? I'm gonna tell you, is when my kids moved to the suburbs where poorer whites were actually at. I had never been around poorer whites like that. It was a shock to me. Okay. It was stunned, the difference in class between white people. It was so stark.
Yeah. That could be actually rather shocking because
it was shocking. Yes.
You know, I remember I spent some time in Western Pennsylvania. This is old coal mining area. And I was on this consulting project in the 90s or whatever. And I spent about a month out there. And I mean, first of all, maybe one of the most shocking.
You're borged out, Black Uru. I guess he'll be back.
Okay, well, I'll read the super chat.
Okay.
Thank you, Martin Muhammad, for the generous.
I was shocked by that.
Okay, we lost you for about 45 seconds, Uru. You said you actually went to was it Pennsylvania?
I spent some time in Western Pennsylvania in the 90s. This was all white. I mean, and it was very interesting because of old like sort of coal mining area.
Okay.
And one of the things that was visually shocking was, and I don't know if you've ever been near an old coal mining area or community. Everything was gray.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of the coal dust.
Dust.
There was this permanent layer of coal dust over everything. So there was nothing white in that area. Nothing at all was white. But I remember almost all of the white people were on some public assistance or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember being shocked that white people, everybody's on welfare.
Yeah.
You know, food stamps. I remember being shocked by that. I just think that existed in America.
And the thing is, the way you can tell a lower class white person is by their hair. Okay. Their hair is dull and it's a little greasy and it's a little dirty looking. Okay. You can almost instantly tell within like 30 seconds the class of that person by their hair.
Yeah.
Of their white person. It's not as apparent with black people, but with white people it's shocking.
Yeah, that's true. Black people can definitely blur status lines, at least in terms of their appearance. They seem to be much more.
The way you can tell black people's class is sometimes, not all the time, is by the way they speak.
Yep.
Normally, that you can almost tell that within like 5 minutes, their class by the way they speak.
All right.
Because if you're upper class, something will slip in that tells you that you're not part of the lower class people.
That and as one of the mothers of one of my friends in college who were sort of upper middle class, table manners.
Oh yeah, table manners. Yeah, that's
huge.
I found
huge on table manners.
I found that out the hard way. The way I was trained to eat and hold a fork and hold a utensil. But my mother was not how other people do it. So, and my fiance made that very apparent about how I held the fork. Table manners. Table manners is huge. Yes. Which is something that Dr. Dunbar had to learn from Kevin. Okay.
Yeah, in addition to fine dining restaurants, not going to Applebee's and So the difference. Let me read the super chat.
Go ahead.
Then I'll wind things down.
Okay.
Martin Muhammad says, Dr. Dunbar, you look so familiar to me, but I can't put my finger on it. Where are you from, and where did you go to high school? All right, I'm from Buffalo. Got the Buffalo Bills flag up there, and I went to Hutch Tech High School. So that's our lone technical high school in Buffalo. Go ahead.
And that's where your book is from, about playing
Yes.
basketball in high school. Yeah.
Yeah, at Hutch Tech.
Yeah.
So Martin. Yeah, Martin. Yeah, we can talk some more. I'm on lots of social media. You can email me. I think that's all below. So, but if you're from the Buffalo area, you could let me know there in the chat too.
Saucy's in the chat. It's elbows on the table. Currently, cell phones off the table. Actually, cell phones on the table and stuff like that cuts across class, and that's the funny thing. The smartphone actually equalized classes, believe it or not, because a lot of things are very similar, even across the world, how people act because of the smartphone.
Yeah, my mother was pretty big on no elbows on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big on that. Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of ghetto and kind of low class Southern behavior with elbows on the table.
You know, I didn't read Mundy's book, so I won't speak on any detail in it. But I do think it's noteworthy that book was published in the midst of the Obama administration.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's coincidental. I think there was during that time, particularly during that administration, there was very pro-female, very this sort of aspirational aura scent of the female during that time. So I can understand why that book was released during the time it was released.
Right.
And how starkly different things obviously are today versus it was 12 years ago when it was released.
Black Uru, I thought the same thing when I was prepping for this. I said, okay, yeah, that was during...
And the biggest factor was right after the mortgage crisis, where a lot of men lost their jobs. Okay, that was, if you read in the beginning of her book, she was talking about that, about equalization of women actually ascending over men is because of the male apocalypse.
Yeah, it happened. She said it happens after recessions. Men get unemployed, and at least for that period, the women have to provide more.
Yeah. And women started popping their collar right after the mortgage crisis, and men losing their jobs. Yeah.
The only other thing that I find intriguing is that she married Bill Nye at 62. She had never been married before, never had any children before. So, look, when a woman, writes a book about marriage and family formation and whatever, and she herself has never really actively been engaged or involved in that way. It doesn't surprise me how she could miss the mark in some important areas, because I think there are just some sort of fundamental ways in which human beings interact with each other that you become quite acutely aware of when you're in the throes of making a marriage, making children, going through, ascending through the years of doing so. Other than that, things can be kind of academic and somewhat conceptual.
Yeah. But the other four books that in the same vein, written about the same time, actually agree with what she's saying, though. So it's like Hannah Rosen had 2 kids. Was married, so
okay. I was gonna say to Black Uru, and Salchi can attest to this. She says she lives in Arlington, so I'm at Arlington, Virginia. So I imagine
my goodness,
that's a very rich county.
Yes,
a lot of your think tank, Washington Post, people probably live there. Some of the politicians live there. So what you described about her, Black Uru, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, very, very, very DOD heavy in Arlington. Yeah, that's where the Pentagon's money is spent. Okay.
Okay.
Indeed.
Well, gentlemen, that's all I've got. I don't want to hold you all afternoon. Do you guys want to have any parting words? Or
Devil Apostle, I know she actually said, I think it was in a speech that Black men were probably the most progressive group of men that she had actually encountered and um, interviewed. Was black men. Most progressive, more adaptable, blah, 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 blah. So she said, if you're a feminist, the best person for you is probably a black man if you're going to get married, believe it or not.
Yeah, look, black men are very, by history or upbringing, maybe by nature, I don't know. But we just tend to take a more practical approach to things, including even, a lot of what white women are going to encounter with white men is just the fundamental, I'm a white man. The status of me being a white man, so to speak, includes my having a certain thing or being in a certain position or having a certain leverage.
Yeah, yes.
And black men have been disabused.
Oh, yeah.
Such notions long ago. And so things get much more just basically practical and what works. When I was talking earlier about friends of mine, I mean, when, and I know the gentleman pretty well, it was never really an ego thing for him. It was like, okay, well, shit, every year she's getting promoted and, getting crazy bonuses and all these opportunities. So
let her do it. Yeah.
Ride this out.
Let's ride this out. Yeah.
Let's play this out. And we can make a good home for our sons and all this kind of stuff. And I can make sure, their sons are doing well and college graduates and et cetera. So it all worked out, and for him, it was a very practical decision. It wasn't about I'm a man and I'm supposed to lord over.
Mama, most black women teach their sons how to cook, clean, and take care of a baby.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's not a shock. Okay. You just have to relearn what you've forgotten. That's all. Because I changed my first diaper at 7 years old. So I'm not. So taking care of a baby is not foreign to me.
Exactly.
Clean a house, not foreign to me. Okay.
So no, I don't. What her comment don't surprise me because we're just generally not as focused on just this whole sort of quote patriarchal dominance thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, it doesn't really, patriarchy doesn't really exist in the black community per se. I know a lot of black men would disagree with that, but the history says it doesn't really exist in the black community. Never has. Yeah.
Anyway. Black brothers are much more in the cooperation.
Yeah.
And to some degree, look,
deference,
outward respect, and look, don't mar me, especially not publicly.
Yes,
it's one thing for us to have whatever kind of strife we have internally, how we work things out privately, but I'll be damned if I let you publicly mar me.
And they do it. And they do it anyway.
And here's the thing. I think women of prior generations were more cognizant of that. Doesn't mean that some of them still didn't do it anyway. I think they were much more cognizant. If I do something publicly to hurt this man, we won't be able to get past it. I think younger women seem to. That's like a motivation of theirs. Where they want. Not only do they want to be in power and have control and dominance, they want to style on you in public as they do.
They want to flex. They want to flex on you.
They want to flex. So
and we won't let Dr. Dunbar go because I know he's got the rest of his day. So
thanks for having me, Doc.
Hey, don't be a stranger, old man.
Indeed.
BGS, do you have any? Thank you for coming and talking about this. Thank you for introducing this. And
the thing is, I'm sure reading the book, it said, I already lived this life. Everything in that book you've already seen, you probably already lived.
Yes, but didn't understand. Didn't understand the what and the why.
Okay.
Based upon where I come from. This would have certainly been very valuable years ago.
Yeah.
But I didn't understand the what.
And she's from your area, so what she's talking about is you see it every day.
So BGS, before you go, so you've talked about the single lifestyle in DC. So you have quite a few contacts, aside from me here. So
Tons, yeah, tons,
quite a
too
few
many.
boots on the ground.
And in fact, one of them is actually in the Equalizer is actually in the chat. He's in your area. So yeah,
Okay.
the thing is, the environment and the society. Same thing that's going on in China, right? Where you have a lot of single men, right? And that's where laying flat is actually coming from. Men are saying, "I'd rather be single. I'd rather live independently." Is because I can. I don't need a wife.
Now, have you heard about what's happening in the UK? Apparently, they're having a bit of a meltdown as well.
It's a planetary thing, and part of this is a mouse utopia where society is getting so comfortable that parents are starting to break up, and it's mostly the women. Okay, the women are not worth dating or being with anymore. There's no value in being with them like that. Okay, and they're becoming more transactional, and what they don't realize is that when you start becoming transactional in a society, okay, you open yourself up to market forces. Okay, like why, if it's just about sex, a man doesn't need to be in a relationship with you and pay 4 or 5 times the amount to have sex with you. Okay, especially when what is it, they call it the economies of scale. Okay. I always use the and you might be old enough to remember this. In '98, a flat screen TV was $50,000 per $1,000 per inch. Okay, a flat screen 50-inch flat screen TV is $300 now. Not even $1 per inch. Okay, it's about $1. It's about several dollars per inch, not 1,000. Okay, that's the economy of scale. Okay, I saw that during the crack era where the price of punani went from 50 all the way down to 5. Greece went through the same thing with the economy of scale, right? When they crashed, right? The price of punani went from 120 euros down to 10 euros. It's because they flooded the market with the product. And women realize that if you want to make this transactional, okay, the men will start treating it like it's a transaction. And what is the actual worth of what you're providing that male at a particular time? Okay, which is one of the reasons why the first thing the women did when they got the vote in 1920 was get rid of alcohol and get rid of prostitution. They voted all that stuff out is because it drove up the price of punani and made men actually make the ultimate sacrifice, which was getting married and raising a family, which is way more expensive than the casual sex. Okay, so
oh, Master Teacher, I forgot to thank you for that. I forgot to mention this, but
go ahead.
Mundy, I think she mentioned in the book that with the assortative mating, whatever you want to call it, the more selective
hypergamy, it's hypergamy mating.
That's in part. Now she didn't mention this verbatim, but shout out to Mr. Z. That's going to contribute to the K-shaped economy, because you're going to have more high earning people,
right,
consolidating resources, and they're just going to take off,
right,
and then those who aren't, or those who don't have enough resources to endure, they're just going to keep trending further down.
Until the society implodes.
Okay, the K-shaped economy.
But the thing is, who's struggling with the K-shaped economy? It's not the men, it's the women. Because the men will date down. Men don't. You don't hear men complain about this. They got tons of choices, tons of even you, okay, if you wanted to, you have tons of choices, okay, at your status. Okay, now you might not like all your choices, but you have tons of choices. Okay, women don't see it the same way. You don't complain about your status or your choices. Okay, women do. Women complain about dating. I can't find a man on my level. I can't find a man that I want. Blah blah. Men don't complain about that. Okay, the market is the market. Men see the market as the market. Okay, it's up to me to actually go out into the market and get what I want. Okay, women think market is it actually supposed to supply them with the men that they want. Doesn't work that way. They don't believe the market is the market. Okay. That's why they're complaining. Okay. Now market forces are actually acting on them. Okay. I'm out in the bars, in the mixers, and the yada yada yada. Men aren't coming because you're not supplying them what they want. You're not in the market giving anything. Okay. This is not you going to the grocery store, going to the department store and picking out what you want. Okay. Even if you do, you got to pay. You have to compensate that store with something. Okay. Women are not coming with compensation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You're not going to you're not going to the date to a higher earning man and said, okay, Dr. Dunbar, if you get with me, I can do this, this, and this, and this for you. Okay. You come to Dr. Dunbar, he might say, okay, you're decent looking, you got a decent attitude, and you're willing to actually help me further my career. We can make this work. Okay. They're coming with their hands out. Okay.
Well, that goes back to my observation that I noticed. They weren't offering anything. They
not
weren't
offering anything. Yeah. And that's the thing, even with higher earning women, they're not offering anything. They think their status means more to you, means more to you than it does to them. My status is what I'm selling. I'm not selling what I can do for you. I'm selling my status towards you. If you're Nicole Murphy, okay. Dr. Dunbar said, "Oh, you know what? Maybe a younger Nicole Murphy. We can hang out. Okay, I can spend on you. It's because you're gonna make me look good. Okay. You're gonna actually bring people to me because you walk in a conference with Nicole Murphy on your arm and say, wait a minute, Dr. Goodbar's got that on his arm. Oh, okay. How do you do that? Okay, then it's worth it. Okay, but most women are not Nicole Murphy." And most women at your level are let's be honest, they're 4s and 5s. They're not 10s. Okay, there's not a whole lot of 10s at your level.
No,
that are working, that are career women. They're mostly 4 or 5s, maybe a 6 at best. Okay.
Yeah.
And what are they offering? They can't really offer a Nicole Murphy outcome is because they're not that. But my status and my career and my so-called money is what you're supposed to be attractive, but things you're not going to spend that money on me, so it does me no good. And women haven't figured that out yet. You got to offer something. Men know. You're going to get a Nicole Murphy. You're going to spend some money. Going to be some vacations, maybe a car, maybe a condo. Might have to, double down and get her a house, if you want to keep her, okay, because it's worth it to you. Because what she brings to you, that's an acquired good to you, okay. But most women aren't that. Russell Wilson picked Sierra for a reason. Actually made money from her. He didn't lose anything. People don't see that. She brought something to him, which is an exchange of goods. Okay. But women don't see marriage and relationship as an exchange anymore. Something where I actually get something instead of exchange something, which is why marriage doesn't work anymore for the most part.
Okay. Well, thank you again, sir.
Okay. Like I said, I'm sure you enjoyed the book. Hannah Rose. It is the first book. If you actually want to read the End of Men, that's the first book. This is the second one. There's a couple more. I got to go back in my archives and find them. Okay. That say something very similar.
Well, let me see if I can finish The Man Not first.
Yeah, you have to have a dictionary next to you to read The Man Not.
With The Man Not, yeah. Well, it's the language that he uses. It's all the vernacular Dr. Neal uses.
Yes.
Dr. T uses. So that Africana studies, that all the books, all the hegemony and hegemonic ontological reasoning, and
yeah. You need a dictionary next to his book. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Master Teacher, thank you. I will be in touch.
Okay.
And thank you again.
All right, Dr. Goodbar.
All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I got a few hours of weekend left over, so I actually have to make a run out and get some groceries and get ready to get back to the grind tomorrow. And there's a grind ahead of me. So with that, everybody, thank you for your eyeballs. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the donations. Those are much appreciated. This is a good book. A lot of this stuff, if you're like me, some of the signs were there when you were growing up, but you just didn't know what that was, or you just didn't know if it was right, and you just didn't know, should I be playing along with this, or should I look for something different? You just didn't know. So even if you listen to the audiobook, there's a lot in here, and according to BGS, there's a whole series of books just covering this. So with that, everybody, I'm going to wrap this up. The information for my book is in the description box. There's another one on the way. And if the hype function is available, please hype this discussion. If it's available, YouTube is very finicky these days about who it gives that option to. So everybody, enjoy the rest of your night. And if you're part of the replay gang, let me know what you think in the comments section below. So as always, remember, well, I'm wearing my Starfleet scientist shirt today. This was all in part biology. Live long and prosper. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. If you go to my store to get a copy of my first book, use the coupon code GoBlue. That'll take $5 off the list price. That's all in the description box. And if you want a hardcover assigned when I'm selling them at a sale price here for $27, and the paperback for $22, which you have to send your mailing address along with, if you use one of these methods in the ticker. All right. Yeah, UFO Kamikaze. Yeah, I grew up a Trekkie. I have a Ben Sisko. I have a Deep Space Nine. I have a Cardassian shirt as well, and I have Odo. So I do need to make another Star Trek video for my media channel soon, but there's no time right now. Everything is just time. Time is just. Everybody have a good night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.